We've got a great SEC matchup this weekend, the battle for the Golden Boot as Arkansas heads to LSU. And, well, I call it a great matchup, but the betting public seems to disagree as the Tigers are currently a 17.5-point favorite in this one. And so I'll just go ahead and be direct and tell y'all how I feel about this game, and then I'll get into the why and some of the how. And looking at these two teams individually through 3 weeks of play, I have to assume that LSU is absolutely going to win this football game, especially being at home in Death Valley at night. However, I do believe it's going to be at least a relatively close game, and quite honestly, I would not be surprised if the Hogs found a way to go in there and pull off the upset. Similar to the way last week I said I wouldn't be surprised if BYU managed to do the same. It's just a bit of role reversal this week as LSU is the more talented team on paper, the sixth most talented roster in the country in terms of number of 4- and 5-star recruits. But Arkansas certainly has enough talent on its roster that if they do what the Cougars did and come in with a strong game plan and out-execute the Tigers, they can be the ones driving a dagger into the heart of the opposing fans this week. So then really the question becomes, can they? And to this point in the season, we haven't seen that perfect marriage of strong game plan and execution from this offense. And I'll go into a bit more detail about that in a bit. But first, I want to start with the strengths of these two opposing teams, which happen to be the two opposing sides of the football. LSU has been one of the most explosive offenses in the entire country and obviously has Heisman candidate Jaden Daniels at quarterback. But Arkansas's defense, who's probably still falling under the radar of most, has quietly been one of the best defenses in the SEC and even one of the best defenses in the country statistically. LSU is scoring roughly 46 points per game, good for 10th nationally. Arkansas is surrendering 19 points per game, which is only good for 45th nationally. However, if you've watched the games, you might, like me, objectively attribute a good chunk of those points to not getting enough help and consistency from Arkansas's offense and special teams. LSU is also 6th in the country in total offense, averaging 537 per game. Arkansas is 11th in the country in total defense, surrendering just 257. Pitting the SEC's best offense versus the SEC's second best defense statistically. But there is a very crucial matchup that does not favor the Razorbacks statistically, and that is LSU's 10th ranked passing offense versus the Razorbacks' 53rd ranked passing defense. But I do believe they have the talent to improve those numbers and be better in that area. They just need to be more disciplined in their individual assignments, which is really to say virtually the more they cut down on their missed assignments, the stouter they'll continue to become as a defense overall. Now, where the statistics start to favor Arkansas is in their ability to be disruptive and get into the backfield. Arkansas ranks 7th in the country in sacks, accumulating 12 so far on the season, while LSU is tied for 79th in the country in sacks allowed. And I note that they're tied because the team they're tied with just so happens to be who else but Arkansas. The Hogs' defense also boasts the third most tackle for losses this season with 30, and LSU's offense ranks 92nd in the country in TFL surrendered. So LSU's offense versus Arkansas's defense in of itself, I think, is going to be a really fun battle to watch. I don't have any doubts that these are the two best opposing units that each of these units have faced. Then when you look at the other side of the ball for both of these teams, they've been much less impressive, especially statistically. But when I look at the talent on LSU's defense, when I look at the talent on Arkansas's offense, I don't think there's any doubt that the potential is there for both of those individual units to play at a higher level. If your offensive coordinator, Dan Enos at Arkansas, if your defensive coordinator, Matt House at LSU, if you're those players, you need to take this as an opportunity to prove you're worth your salt because the other side of the ball has been getting the job done. They've been playing a winning brand of football. Now it's time for you to pick up the slack. Dan Enos obviously has to do a better job adjusting to his personnel and forming an effective game plan for those guys to have success. For his and the sake of the offensive line, give KJ quicker and easier reads. Do like Coach Pittman has talked about this week and chip with the tight end. Make sure the running backs and tight ends are consistently available as check down options. Create ways to feature the guys who have asserted themselves through 3 weeks. Andrew Armstrong, Isaac Tesla, Luke Haas, AJ Green, Rocket if he's healthy to go. Take notes from a Florida State offense that gashed this LSU defense. They had a lot of success utilizing 21 personnel, 2 backs in the backfield with a tight end on the line of scrimmage. And Arkansas certainly has the running back depth and personnel to be able to do some of that. But as noted earlier, and as has to be considered when picking this game, is we've yet to see that perfect marriage, that perfect blend of game plan and execution from this Arkansas offense. If we get that, I firmly believe that this is going to be one heck of a football game. If we don't, if we get what we got last week against BYU, namely 14 penalties and you lose the turnover battle, then you'll likely be watching LSU cover that large 17.5-point line. And then quickly in regards to special teams, I'm not going to lie, I neglected to study the Tigers special teams unit, but I know in regards to Arkansas, they have to be much more consistent if they want to be in this game at the end. You absolutely cannot afford to be shanking punts, giving up long kick returns, and when Cam Little's number is called, we need him to deliver. So really to summarize once again my thoughts on this matchup, on paper, LSU is the more talented team. Their on-field performance gives me a little bit more confidence at this point. A little less ifs and question marks surrounding them than Arkansas right now. They have gone into Death Valley at night with less talent than I believe they have on this year's team and won. But until I see more on the field from this group, I just don't have the confidence to pick them in an upset. However, I am very confident they cover that 17.5-point line and make this one competitive. I reckon we shall see. But that's all for now. Let me know y'all's thoughts and opinions in the comments section. And until next time, thank y'all for all the love and support. May God bless and be with you all. And of course, go Hogs!